All right, we're live. Did you see that countdown? That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was.
I don't think the viewers get to see that. That's kind of neat. I like that. So we are live with Erika Cacha, and this is our second spotlight. We did one for Black History Month. This is something we're sort of toying around with. I told Michael Nayorko out of Ace Toronto that, hey, maybe this might turn into an internal podcast that we may be doing. So, who knows what this is going to turn into. But I'm so excited to spend some time with you. Erika, thank you for turning in your submission for this. And I thought, gosh, we haven't talked to anyone from Sydney globally across all of our portfolio. I thought after seeing yours, this would be a good one to launch with. So welcome. I don't even know what we're going to call it. Welcome to the Women's History Month Spotlight Studio. Thank you for joining the call today. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm good. It is 9:21 in Sydney, a.m. So it's good.
Yeah. In fact, 9:21. I'm talking to someone in the future. It's
Yeah.
Wednesday morning there, right? I'm talking to someone in the future. Wow, that's okay. So for our viewers that will eventually see, it's live right now, but then everybody will see the recording. This is just internal. We're not on LinkedIn. That might be next year, but for now, this is internal. So for those that are going to watch the recording and that are outside of ACE, everybody knows you at ACE Sydney. But why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and share your journey to where you've gotten to where you are today.
Yeah, for sure. So I work as a front office manager. So I manage the front desk. So that's your reception team, your guest relations, your guest experience team, as well as I help coordinate and work alongside and under the director of rooms. So yeah, it's a pretty big department, a lot of responsibility, a big team. But yeah, I've been working here since pre-opening. I've been here for almost 2 years, and yeah, it's been great. And I started out as a manager on duty, and then I quickly progressed into the department manager. So yeah, very proud of myself. It's been a good journey so far.
Wait a minute. Let me make sure I get this right. So you opened the hotel. So we need to spend just a little bit of time on that in just a second. You opened the hotel. And what was your role when you opened the hotel?
So manager on duty. So there, when they were recruiting, like the foundation of the team, the front office team, I was one of four. So yeah, I was one of four. We've kind of opened it, and then when we, got more established, got more into routine, I guess they needed just like someone to lead the team, because it is pretty a pretty big team, as well as like we have a lot of rooms. So yeah, I guess they made that role for me. I know in a lot of hotels there is a front office manager. But yeah, it was a role that opened for me, I guess.
Okay. All right. Well, and do I have this right? Because we did not talk about this, but as I think about the conversation we did have last week and the jobs you had before, is this was the first time you opened a hotel, or had you done that before?
Yeah, first time. I've worked in 3 hotels, but this is the first hotel that I've opened. So it was a
Yeah.
very for me.
It was a what? You cut out for a second.
Oh, it was a very new experience for me, like opening. So it's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It takes a certain bit of wherewithal, right, to make it through an opening. There's just so much happening.
Mm,
I remember we were having, meetings upon meetings upon meetings through all of that, right? So, okay.
mm.
All right. Well, we are glad to have you on the team. This is our Women's History Month spotlight. And so I love this question. I can't wait to hear what you have to say about this. Tell me, who are the female leaders or role models that have inspired you in your personal or professional life?
Yeah, so it would have to be my mother, as well as my grandmother as well. They immigrated from the Philippines to come to Australia. And yeah, I can't imagine how challenging and the challenges that they have faced, basically learning a whole new culture, um, a new language as well. And yeah, I look up to them both professionally. They're very, very hardworking. They're very independent. But I think one of the most important things that they have taught me, especially my mother, she's taught me, there is so much beauty and a lot of complexity of being a woman. And being like a strong woman or woman empowerment looks very, very different in Western culture as well as, Asian culture. And I think, they've done a really, really good job in kind of blending those two like values,
Mhm.
for me to grow up in. So yeah, like I think maybe personally, one thing they've taught me is you can be hardworking, you can be independent and very strong and, very strong will, but at the same time, I can be vulnerable, I can be soft, I can be patient, and I can be a nurturer. And yeah, like neither one is stronger than the other, but I like that, I can mix my two cultures
Yeah.
into my life. So yeah.
Wow. That makes me think of something when I hear that. I just love that. So the different layers, and you have where you are being, you have your own opinion, right? And you are asserting that you're being assertive, which I love, and then you're vulnerable, and I love that in a leader because I think sometimes as leaders we think I have said this often in leadership development where we feel like we have to show them who's boss so that we mean business, and that's not the case. I think when you are fair yet firm, and when you are making yourself vulnerable at times, there's an honesty and an originality there that people like, and appreciate. So
Yeah,
um,
there is so much strength in, in that. And obviously there's a lot of nuance with a lot of things, but there is definitely a lot of strength in vulnerability. So
yeah,
I take.
yeah, that's great. Tell me, this is another question I think about when we're on this about being assertive in the U.S. um, for women who are being assertive versus a guy who's being assertive. Sometimes it is seen differently.
Mm,
Um, and I'll just keeping it real, like I always do. When a woman is assertive versus a male, the male's assertive. Nobody seems to, they just keep it going. But when a woman is assertive, sometimes I have heard where someone will say, she's being a bitch or she's,
mm, yeah,
emotional. And I have, in my role as an HR person, not even talking about DEI, just as an HR person, I would question that and say, well, what makes you say that? What, help me understand that. I'm framing this up to ask you, is it, have you seen similar situations that occur? Is that a universal thing or is it just a US thing that has happened?
yeah, it's definitely a universal thing, a universal thing. I've been in a lot of situations and a lot of past like workplaces where it is very male dominant. And then I always have to feel like I have to be just a little bit more smarter or a little bit more intelligent just to overcompensate, um, just to overcompensate myself in a room full of men.
Mm,
I
mm,
mean, them to be like, okay, she's a little bit more intelligent, like just to earn their respect a little bit. I've definitely been in a lot of situations like that. um and when I do come across as firm or a little bit you know show
assertive.
assertive.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, okay, like, well, where's this coming from? Like, and especially like, as an Asian woman, like we are seen, and I'm just going to be real, like we are seen to be very submissive. There is that stereotype
Hmm.
of soft, gentle, and
Hmm.
so yeah, I feel like I do sometimes have to overcompensate myself in a lot of situations, but yeah, that's it's systematic, and it's the world that we live in, and
So let me ask you this, because what I gathered from that is you got to be that much smarter. At least as you were moving through that, that's been the case for you. But
Mhm.
now, is that still the way you handle that, or what is a way that you have sort of maneuvered through that? Is it for, I'm thinking for other women out there that may be listening, or quite frankly for the dudes to understand what's happening here and understanding the dynamic. So how do you maneuver through that now? Is it differently or is it still the same thing?
Yeah, no, it is. It's I've grown a lot. When I was a little bit younger, it was very, very hard for me because I also didn't understand a lot of things. So I wasn't able to understand, okay, why are people not taking me seriously? Is it me? Is it something that I've done? But it is really like not a personal thing, and other men, they might not be aware of how they're speaking or how they react. But now I really just take my time in explaining myself, and sometimes like I don't have to be so loud anymore or so talkative anymore. I think it comes with a level of confidence, and there are some people in some situations where it doesn't always go right. But I as my mom has always told me, like, I will always like stand my ground in what I believe in. And if people reciprocate to that, then great. And if they, if it doesn't translate well to them, she's always told me, then take 2 minutes to explain to them. And if
Mhm.
they still don't understand, then that's not your responsibility. So I also feel like as women, like we should be educating each other, as well as the men around us. And, yeah, like every experience is different. So everyone's lived experience is different. And I feel like communication is a really, really big thing, not just at work, but in like, everyday life. But now, yeah, I think it does come, with time and like with a lot of confidence. Cause I remember when I was younger, like if someone were to be a little bit like snazzy to me or sassy, it would really get to me. Like I'll be like, oh my God, what did I do? But it's
Mm.
what I mean. Like try not to take things too personally, especially in a workplace, because intent and impact are two different things. Someone can um, mean something different, but the impact is still the same. And I always try to explain that impact and what people's intentions are. So, and I think that really works.
That's great. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. I think that's helpful for a lot of folks out there. Sort of similar lines. Can you talk about a moment in your career where you felt particularly empowered as a woman, and how do you think that particular moment can be fostered within our workplace?
So at my last job, so before ACE, I was managing quite a big team of like 30 people, and I was the only woman in the team. So everyone that I was managing were men, and they were all quite older than me. So coming into that, I was already guards up. Like I'm the only female. I'm quite young. Like I'm a lot younger than them. um it wasn't easy, proving myself. Like is it, like I'm sure men would be the men that I imagine would be like, oh, like who is this?
Mm.
I think because of my experience, and I've done every single role at that point, I was able to have a level of understanding where they're coming from, and I think that's really, really important. I've done that job that they're doing. So, I understand if there was any frustrations, because I was there. And I think with that sense of like relatability, and it makes me more approachable, and they kind of trust me, um, after we've got over like that barrier of age and gender. I did feel really, really empowered because they did see me as someone they respect. And yeah, I'm very proud of that job as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, I would just love to have seen that in action. That is great. That just warms my heart thinking about that. Um, hey, let's talk about accomplishments in your career. Tell me about something that occurred that you're most proud of, and how does that reflect, your values or your passions?
Yeah, I think yeah, going back as well to, I started off, you know, in hotels as like a side job,
Mm.
when I was still studying in university. But yeah, like I really started from like being a belle, and I've done, every role that has kind of led me to be where I am now, which is a front office manager. Um, so yeah, when I look back on my journey, I'm really, really proud of myself because I worked really, really hard. Um, and I think, it helped me be like a really, really good manager is because, again, as I said, I understand where my team is coming from because I've done that role. So, and I've been there and I've done that. So when I think about how to be like a good manager, I always think of, okay, 6 years ago, what did I need? What did I need from my manager? How could they have better supported me? So I always kind of think, oh, what can I do to be the manager that I needed? And yeah.
Okay. All right. Now this might be, I don't know if this will be a zinger or not. I'm gonna put you on the spot a little bit here because hearing a couple of times from you now that you've done that role before, and I have in my mind, this isn't a leadership class, but it does make me think about this. Now, are you known to be out there when they're busy checking in guests also, or are you in the back? Because sometimes I hear from frontline staff, not from Sydney per se, but sometimes I hear from frontline staff where the manager's in the back, and I know sometimes um, senior leadership's putting pressures on the team to get inventory done and get schedules done and all that stuff. But you know your way around a desk. Are you helping checking folks out when it's busy? Talk to me a little bit about that.
No, of course. Like my job is very operations based, so I will be in operation. It's like all the
Okay.
time. Um,
Okay.
so yeah, I'm all yeah. I am a very like present manager, and I guess like with the every team is managed differently, but I think what thrives in my team is that I am visible and I am always accessible, and I'm always there as like a pillar of support. So yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Good. All right. We'll see when this gets posted. We'll see what's in the comments underneath there. So we'll see how that plays out. Um, I love this question. We ask this on all the spotlights, so I can't wait to hear what you have to say. How does ACE differ? How does ACE differ from other companies that you've worked for?
Yes, I was very, very attracted to like um the company because it aligns with like what I believe in as well. Like, it really celebrates individuality, which is something so refreshing to me. I feel like in a lot of jobs I had to kind of, you know, turn on the like off button with my personality because I am chaotic. I am very loud and I'm very, outgoing, and I just feel like I have to dial it down a bit. But for here, it's like that is celebrated. Like people around me love that, and I feel like I can be authentic, and I really send that message out when I hire people, or I send that out to my team. And it is like a very big, you know, community is very important for me. And with ACE, I do genuinely I feel like this is like a community. It is a very safe space. So yeah, like I roll with that. It's cool.
Well, that just warms my heart as an HR leader and a practitioner of diversity, equity, and inclusion. That just warms my heart to hear that. So thank you for that. All right, final question. We're going to sign off here, but before we do, what advice would you give to women entering our industry today?
Yeah, like just do it. I mean, there is a place for you at, you know, at like everywhere. I mean, for Ace, it's the place for me because I value community, I value diversity. There are so many companies and industries out there that are most likely to align to what you believe in. So yeah, and there's always a seat for you, like even if you have to ask for room or if you have to make room, it doesn't make you weak. It just makes you that much stronger, that you have the confidence to ask for what you want and kind of go get what you want. And it's going to be challenging as every job. um, but you just, for me, like, rely on your community, rely on people around you. Yeah.
You know, that is, you are in company with our president. I was on a call behind the scenes running the technology, and I heard her say something exactly like that, where the question was similar, was advice for women, and she said, "Speak up, speak up."
Mm,
And so I love that, asking for space, and I think that is great advice for anyone, really, for that matter, is that you got to ask. And all too often, where I've seen people sort of fall down is because they didn't ask for the help. And so there's nothing wrong with saying, "Hey, I need to understand this," or "I need help with this," or "Hold on, I have a question about this." And I think there's a lot of strength in that. So great advice, Erika. Thank you so much. Well, listen, we that's those are all the questions I have. We could just keep going and going and going, but I think we'll call it here. And I want to thank you for making time with me today and doing this the second spotlight for us. And hey, let's continue to stay in touch. We got some things coming up here soon. I want to talk to you about off air,
yeah.
and that we got I think we got some plans for some other stuff that we need. I could use your help on. So i'm
Maybe.
gonna I'm gonna close the stream, and then I'm gonna end the live, and we can talk about that right now. So say goodbye to everybody. Thanks so much for making your way to this call.
Thank you.